All right, so we are going to look at Harvard referencing style. We shall be using Harvard referencing style for referencing our exams, assignments, even our research proposals, and even research reports. So you need to master the techniques of Harvard referencing style for you to be able to get adequate marks in either your research proposal or your research report, and also in your assignments, and also your summative open book exams. Okay, so in this presentation, we are basically, let me make sure it moves. Why is it not moving? Okay. So in this presentation, we want you to basically understand the different guidelines as used in Harvard referencing style and why it is actually very important. Harvard referencing style is one which actually uses the author and then the date. So we can call it the author and date citation style. So we have two aspects with this kind of referencing. You can reference in text, what we call in-text citation. So within the body of the work that you're writing, you put the reference there. That is what you call in-text citation. Or you have the references put in the reference list. So we want you to use both of them, in-text citation and then also having a reference list. So in your exams, we are expecting to see two things. Everywhere you have a point that you're explaining, you need to tell us where that point comes from. And then you put the citations that you have included in the text in the reference list. Okay, so it is a common style of referencing that is widely used across different disciplines. So different universities usually adopt different referencing styles. You have universities that prefer the Chicago referencing style. We have the Vancouver, and then other types of referencing. WHO also has its own referencing style. So for those of you who are public health professionals and who may be interested in working with WHO, you just need to know that WHO has its own unique referencing style that is also different from the usual referencing style. So usually, different institutions adopt different referencing styles, but others actually focus more on modifying the existing referencing style. Others just adopt other formats wholesomely without making adaptations or changes. So what we are saying here is that as Ristal University, we shall be using Harvard referencing style for all our work. So we expect you to have mastered Harvard referencing style when you graduate. Okay. So why do we need to emphasize this? If you are to recall, in our first module, when you join us, we have that module called Professional Communication, Writing, and Study Skills. One of the topics there is called referencing. And we start to emphasize referencing way from module 1. So it is actually very important because it actually displays your ability to communicate, work, while acknowledging where you have picked the ideas from. This is very important in academics. It's very important to recognize and even acknowledge the work of other people, such that you don't do what you call plagiarism, which is basically stealing people's information and not acknowledging where you got that information from. It taints the image that you have. For example, in one of the famous examples of plagiarism is, I think it was they call them the first lady of the United States of America, when Donald Trump was the president. This lady, in one of her speeches, she got work from another speech, and then she went and read that speech. And it was all over the news that the work was actually plagiarized. So she did not write her own unique speech, but she plagiarized the work. And that taints the image that you have as a leader. So it goes beyond the university. It goes to even your professional life, your political life generally, even your life on social media. There are many people on social media when they want to be very funny. They post comments or what you can call comedy. But these are things that have been repeated and repeated by even other people. So if you have joined Facebook yesterday, you think, this is funny. People have seen it. They have seen that joke that you're trying to share, and they know where it originated from. So for you, you're sharing it as if it is something new. For us, we shall be here smiling, say, this one is copying and pasting things on their Facebook wall. So it's not always good to share information that is not yours and then say it is yours. It's not good. And then for any arguments that you make, I usually tell people that in life, arguments, the ability to make good arguments is the distinction between you succeeding or not succeeding. So you need to make very good arguments in life, whether it is about pay rise. If you're going to negotiate about a salary increment, you need to have good abilities to do that. You need to be able to convince people to give you a job, even in a job interview. The job interview is basically you convincing people that you have the right skills and the experience to do the job. So it is basically about arguments. You present reasons for why the HR needs to choose you. So you cannot make very good arguments if you don't have credible sources that can be trusted. So how do we know that you have credible sources? Is when you cite those sources. You give the references for those sources. That is actually very, very key. It is very important that while you're going to provide referencing, you don't need to be a person who is basically regurgitating what they have read. You need to be a person who can synthesize information, bring ideas together and then get something new, but still reference it. Okay? So, for example, you're going to say that according to so-and-so, he says this and that. To me, this is what I think. Okay? Okay, so you have generated a new idea from another idea. Okay, that is very important for synthesis purposes. But you can still communicate the same thing. Anyone who is not hearing me well? Marin is saying he's not hearing me.
We are getting you very clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we are getting you, but it's a bit low sometimes because of the network.
Make sure you increase the volume of your device.
Mine is very clear.
So I don't think I can do anything with that, but I will try to raise my voice. Yes, so it is very important that you communicate different ideas using different words, and that is what we call paraphrasing. And this is what I usually mean by saying, I want to hear you speak, or I want to hear you write. We as a person who is now taken some good years in teaching, if I see the text, I can know that this is the student writing, or this is not the student writing, because of experience. So I need to be able to see that it is you who is writing. And you have written this because you have read it somewhere, and then you give that reference. That is what you call paraphrasing. It is very important because you don't want to keep using the same words over and over again. So that's why paraphrasing is very, very important. So when you paraphrase, you're basically explaining or stating the ideas that you have read, but in a different fashion, while retaining the meaning of what you're speaking about. Okay, so we move to the next slide. So this is an example of what paraphrasing looks like. So for example, you have read somewhere that employment engagement is very crucial for organizational success, leading to increased productivity, improved employment retention, and high levels of customer satisfaction. Okay, so that is what you have read, and the reference is provided there. It is Johnson and Williams who wrote that. So you want to communicate that same information, but not using the same words. So you say, when employees are engaged, it can result in numerous advantages or benefits for the organization, such as better productivity, lower turnover rates, and enhanced customer satisfaction. Then you put the reference. So the meaning is basically the same, but the wording different. That is what you call paraphrasing. Okay, so it is very, very important for you to paraphrase your work. I already said that with the Harvard referencing style, there are two things you need to have. Your text, you give the citation in the text, that is in-text citation, or you have the references at the last, the list of references at the last section of your document. Okay, those two things need to be there in all your assignments that you submit to us, and also in your proposals. They should be there, those two things. So we are going to look at the details of how you do the two. So in-text citation means that you are writing, you're putting the citation in the body of the text. Okay, so for example, according to, let me give you an example. According to the interagency report, including WHO, UNFPA, UN, whatever it is, they have found out that maternal mortality rate in South Sudan is 1,150 deaths, maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Okay, That's maybe a finding into 2019. So then you put that reference there. So you put whether it is WHO 2019, then you put the reference. When you do that, that is what you call in-text citation. So immediately after the sentence, you put a citation that is in-text citation. So with in-text citation, you put the author's last name and then the year of publication. Okay, and then put in parentheses the brackets. Okay, put the brackets. Now, if you have a quote, we usually use a quotes when for many reasons. Let me ask you that question. When do we use quotes? When do we use quotes? In your writing, when do you use quotes? When do you quote a person?
To me,
Yes, Dennis.
yes, to me, we quote when you're writing exactly what the person is mentioning without changing any of the words.
So why do you do that?
We do that in order to tell that these words are not from me, but from that exact person.
But why don't you say that? According to Bosco, Harvard referencing is used in our assignments and also in our research proposals. Why don't you say like that? Because that will not be a direct quote. Yes, Rose, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think according to me, we use quotations in order to emphasize on an idea or on reporting someone's idea also.
Exactly. Yes, thank you very much. That's the point. When we want to emphasize what the person communicated, we use quotes, okay, direct quotes, okay? And also when we want to bring out the tone, for example, if there is a politician who is talking about a heated moment, you want to really see what did this politician exactly say, such that you can measure what we call the political temperature. For you to know what this politician is feeling, you need to understand the exact words he says. Okay, that is very important. So whether you're a journalist, you want to pick what the president exactly said. What is the key message that he said, and how did he say that key message? So that is when you use direct quotes, when you want to emphasize a point, when you want to bring out maybe a way in which a particular concept is defined. Okay? For example, you say, according to WHO, health is defined as, that one has to be a direct quote, because you don't want to change the definition of health according to WHO. It is standard, it is what is used. The moment you change it, it becomes something different. But also, we don't want to overuse quotes. You send an assignment of yours or your research proposal with a lot of quotes, it becomes not palatable to read. It doesn't become readable. It becomes a lot of quotes. So you need to use quotes sparingly. So you now know when to use quotes. You also know that you need to use them sparingly. In terms of referencing, you put the year, I mean the name of the author, the year, and then in addition, put the page number where that quote is. Put the page number. That is what differentiates it from the first one. The first one, which is basically put the name and the year, class. The second one, where it is a quote, make sure you put the author, the year, and then the page number, and then close the brackets. Paraphrasing is the same. When it comes to two authors, if it is Longa Dennis and the Dara Rose, who wrote the paper, you pick their last names. So in this case, it is, I'm picking just two names, Dara Rose and Longa Dennis. Their last names are Rose and Dennis. So Rose and Dennis wrote the document in 2023. That is for two authors. Okay, for three or more authors, it is the first author, the first name, the last name of the first author. Okay, this is now takes to what you must have studied in the research, which is that you have what you call a research team. So in the research team, you have the principal investigator, that's the person leading the research, and then you have other co-authors or other research members. You can have a data analyst, you can have an interpreter, you can have data enumerators. All those are part of the research team. But when you're picking the person who is actually who is authored, who the main research author, you pick the principal investigator. Okay, so for example, if I led a team of researchers, including Charles, including Marco Machok. Okay, so these are three people, and I'm the one leading. So you put my last name, and then the others you say it up, and then the year. So that is for three or more research authors. So these are the examples. The direct quote, make sure that you include the page. The paraphrasing, that's the last name and then the A and then the year of publication. Two authors, it is Rose and Dennis, like I said. And then if there are many, it is the last name and then it put the dot, what we call, this is a period. The full stop is called a period, and then a comma, and then the year. Those are very important. So that is the example. Yes, Rose.
Yeah. Now my question is, how about like two authors, but then having different year of publication? What do we do in sentence, or how do you do about that?
Different years. Different years, same author?
No, like more than two authors publishing the same ideas, but different years of publication.
Oh, yes. So you're saying, for example, there is research that was done by Charles, that was done by Marco, that was done by Dennis. All of them did research and they found out that women who have mobile phones have reduced the chances of getting maternal complications. All the three people found out the same thing, and we have read and found out that that is what they did. So what you basically do is this: you put Charles did it in 2019 and found the same thing, comma, okay, and then you put the other author, that is Marco, and then the other author, Charles. You actually put, I think I need to show that example. You put semicolons, but then all of them, you put them in one bracket. Thank you for raising that issue. So you go on listing Charles, put the year. Dennis, put the year, like that until you close them. I hope I've answered you on that. So now, when it comes to your reference list, make sure that you organize it by alphabetical order. Okay. So in this case, where we had Charles, we had Rose and Dennis and Marco. Who comes first? Charles, followed by Dennis,
Charles.
And then and I think M, that is Marco, and then Rose the last. Okay. Be consistent in your formatting. That means that make sure that your work looks the same. Some of you send me as work, for example, research proposals. And then you have the proposal is in Times Romans up. When you go down, it is in another Calibri. It is in Calibri. You see that the page, the margins are not the same. Okay. No, that work is not formatted. So when we talk about formatting, meaning that the whole work is organized consistently, the spacing, the font type, okay, even the labeling, the numbering, whatever it is, it has to be very consistent. Include everything that you have cited in your reference list. Make sure you do that. So we are now going to move to particular resources. How we do reference each resource. We have looked at the blanket rules. Those are the rules, the general rules. Now, when it comes to particular type of reference material, the rules may little bit change. So when it comes to the book, when it comes to the books, the format is like this, especially for your reference list. Put the year, I mean the authors, the year, the title, the edition, the publisher. Okay. We do not have in the in-text citation are the initials. The initials is, for example, I'm called Mawa Bosco. So if you're going to write if I'm the author of the book, you're going to use my last name, which is Bosco, and then my initial, which is M, and then you put the year. We don't have this in the in-text citation. You just put the last name, comma, the year, bracket, full stop. Here, in your reference list, you have the last name, the initial, or the initials, if the person is having many names. So for my case, I'm called Mawa Bosco Lokiri. So that means that you're going to write my last name. In that case will be Lokiri. My last name in that case will be Lokiri. And then the M and B will be initials, and you need to put them there. Okay. So you write the last name, and then the initial of the first name, and then the year, and then the title of the book, the edition, and then the publisher. Okay, that is in the reference list. In the reference list. In the in-text citation of the book, it is basically the year, I mean the author and the year. That's what you need to put. So journals are where we get most of these articles that we use for our work. So they basically, the unique thing with journals is that you have to put the name of the journal, and then the volume, and then the page range. Okay, these are in addition to what we talked about in the on the issues to do with the book. So journal articles, the procedure is the same. Just make sure that you put the author, the year, the title of the title of the article that you have read, and then the journal article, the journal title or the journal name, and then the volume if you have volumes, or if you have them in issues. Okay, it can be issue 1, issue 2, issue 3. It can be volume 1, volume 2, whatever they are, and then put the page range where the concept that you are referring to is. So that is that with journal referencing. So we move to the other article, online resources. For example, if Ristal Institute releases its the first quarter report of 2023, and then we put it online, that becomes an online resource. Okay. So how do you reference publisher? Matuti is asking if how more information on publisher. Yes. So the publisher is what we, if you want, if I produce a book, if I author a book, I will take it to a publishing house, what we call publishers, to publish it, which is basically the printing and making sure that the books are in good format, good physical format, or even good digital formats. So that becomes the publisher. So you need to put the name of the publisher in your reference. That's what I can say about the publisher. So if I write a book, I can take it. In South Sudan, we don't have very well established publishers. That's the challenge. But you can take it to, for example, Kenya. Most South Sudanese authors publish their books in Kenya, and then they bring them back to Juba for sale. The issues are related to, of course, the cost associated with printing or publishing. It's usually very, very prohibitive. So you take them to Kenya and then bring them back for selling. So the publisher could be in Kenya, but the author is actually a South Sudanese. I hope that helps. So I'm talking about online resources. You can have a person who publishes a document and then puts it online. You Google search it and get it. So how do you reference it? The same format, basically. The author's name, the year, the title, where the website where you have bought that article from, and then the link. Yes, I'm seeing Christopher is saying that referencing is not allowed in the exams. It depends on the exams that you're doing, because every exam has its own instruction. In my exams that I set, the instruction is very clear that referencing is needed. So it depends on who set your exams. You may need to consult with them and see if they're okay with it without referencing. But basically, I would encourage you to practice referencing. For you not to have problems in your masters, or for you not to be a quack academician who does not know how to reference. So it is in good faith for you to reference. Or it's also what we call the academic integrity and honesty. All right. So you need to put the website and the link, what we call the URL, basically the link. Put it there, and then also put the date that you access the link. Why do you think we need to put the date for which we access the link? Why do we need to put the date for which we access the link? For example, if you got the document on Ristal Institute website, you downloaded it, read it, and now you're referencing it. Why do you need to put that date? Anyone who knows? Yes, Pony?
I think we have to include the date because informations are being updated every now and then. So in case of any change, the date that you have written will help you verify the correct information.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Yes, the information on the website keeps changing. It's very dynamic. You will find you will find the report that we have written for the first quarter. You go there after 8 months, you will not find that report there. It is because we have pulled it down or we have changed the information. So you don't want people to start mistrusting your references. Just say, yes, I got it and I got it on this date. And then if they don't find it, they actually understand that it is most likely that the information was changed or the document was removed. So put the date there. For example, 15 March 2023. Online referencing. Edward is asking about an example on online referencing. This is the example here. There is an example down here. Miller K 2018. The title of the document is called How to Reference Online Resources. And then the website is the citation guide. The link is only the one which is missing here. Available at this, there is a link that is supposed to be here that I didn't put, but this is basically the example for the referencing, for the reference list of the website. Okay, so if it is the in-text, you basically just put the name of the author and then the year.